Ladies and gents, welcome to some action. We've got some Arabia action here between Fire, a player I haven't been able to cover in a while, a high-level player from Brazil. He's been really motivated recently, playing the game a lot as well, so good for him. He's about 2450 elo for perspective. And then you've got Mihai, who's definitely on that list of like up-and-comer players, and he's actually at the same elo, 2450. So I don't know if we have many people watching from Romania, but Mihai is by far the best player from Romania. I think I've got that right. I'm pretty sure he's Romanian. Anyways, Mihai is playing as the Khmer, and then Fire is playing as the Goths. Goths are crazy civ, and also Supplies just showed up. And Supplies is a big fan of the Goths, so really good timing there, Supplies, to get here. And you get the rare Goth cast from me on Arabia. You know, with Khmer, you're often thinking about all the tiny little corners you can cut. Big one being not needing to make your buildings to unlock other buildings or to go up to the next stage if you don't want to. So that allows you to be a little faster with certain switches, a little more creative in how you play it. Probably that, and then also the farms is what you talk about with the Khmer. But with the Goths, I mean, they've got a bit of a hunt bonus so they can hold more hunts. They get loom instantly when they go to research that. But if you know the Goths, you know if the Civ gets decent economy, it can outspam anyone and anything. It is a Civ that I consider to be the most imbalanced Civ in the game. Because if you give it more or any more bonuses, they'll destroy everybody. But yet, oftentimes, if they don't make it to like mid-game and they haven't played well to have it be even, they're getting destroyed. It's like this real weird thing with Goths. Nightmare civilization to play against, though, because, like I said, you really got to kill them fast. And so it's one of the civs that has like an identity that the biggest of all noobs would know, right? Like if you were to talk to someone who played Age of Empires once or twice back in the early 2000s, it might bring up like Huskarls, Elite War Elephant, and Longbows. Like I don't know what other things come to mind. Maybe Cataphracts? So anyways, Goths have been around a long time. Also, thank you very much, Supplies. This busy week for me. This should hold you over for your salmon needs. It does. I haven't had salmon in a while, actually. I might get some salmon for this weekend. Players are pretty far apart here. Map is very deserty. So it's kind of hard to see yellow, but that's my job. I'll find it for you. And Mihai shows up, finds Fire's woodline. The thing about Fire is he plays very clean. I say this as he doesn't have the food to go Feudal Age, so bad timing, but he wasn't quite used to the fact that Loom comes in instantly there. And he didn't know there was a hole. He was going to try and trap that scout, and now he realizes the scout escaped. All right, so on the other side, Mihai is trying to be creative with the Khmer bonuses. We've got a house here. You can hop in and out of houses with the Khmer. And then we've got villagers going to gold, but we won't see a barracks built because you don't have to. You can just go instantly for the range. So that saves a lot of wood. But I think Mihai is assuming an awful lot here because when he thinks Goths, he thinks infantry. So he's thinking we're just going to see Fire go for man-at-arms. And Fire's not actually going to do that. Also, Fire's base. Like, if he just walls in towards the gold and then walls in towards the TC, I mean, his base is incredible. Long term, obviously, he could have some big issues, but definitely something to think about. Mihai is trying to be annoying here, and I'd say he's being successful at that. And trying to stop Fire from being even extra greedy. And Fire briefly scouted Mihai and then just went back home. The thing about Khmer is they rarely go for any Dark Age strats, so they rarely go for the early barracks because normally it's about skipping that. So I think for Fire, he just figured my base is pretty good for small walling. Let's just play into something in Feudal Age and then just work from there. But really, really clean play so far. And Fire wants to use the buildings to lock down his walls. Over on the other side, we've got an archer range and a stable? What? Okay. I'll be curious to see what Mihai can afford here. Yeah. I'm so pumped for this. Like, you don't see this every day. Does Mihai know what Fire's doing? Okay, he didn't see the stable, but he could probably assume scouts. Because well, I mean, technically speaking, I don't know if he saw the timing on the barracks, but it feels like you would expect scouts at this point. So he's adding his own scouts, and he's also adding archers at the same time. And guys, he spent just about as many resources as you would spend if you were to go for a barracks in a stable. Because again, you can skip it. So like maybe only the Khmer can do this. And the archers pop out there to hit the spearmen. Fire's probably thinking, okay, this guy's going archers. The Fire's been very greedy this game. Now, I think the thing that's going to be sad for Mihai is that he's not really going to be able to surprise Fire much because Fire is going to be walled, right? Like, if the map was more open, I feel like this would be a lot more effective. Because there's no way Fire expects scouts right now. But in the end, I think this is going to be more of a defensive Feudal Age. Unless the archers show up to deny the gold. And now Fire sees it, and Fire's probably like, what? That's so crazy, man. How does he do both? And normally where your mind goes, if your opponent does double military like this, is that your economy is going to be better. Because you've invested more into the eco upgrades. And not even just the eco upgrades, but also the double lumber camp versus the single lumber camp. Like, this is going to start to get pretty inefficient soon. Just small things like that. Do I have any viewers watching from Romania? Here come these archers. And Mihai just got the wall down there to keep himself safe. The Fire was lurking. And Fire's going to add more scouts. You don't see Goths make scouts every day, but infantry would have been too one-dimensional for Fire. He didn't want to do that. It was too obvious. So Mihai, you're from Romania? Gotcha. Well, it's funny. I don't know how common a word that is or name that is in Romania, but makes sense. I didn't want to assume, you know? I saw you mentioned the name. All right, guys. Fletching is in on these archers. And the next few moments are really important for Mihai, because if he could have this army with this army, he would win any fight. But he's separated from the rest of the group. Now here comes Fire, and Mihai's going to try and take out the spearmen with his archers. Overall, this is an okay fight for Mihai. All things considered, excuse me, I think it's actually better than I would have expected it to be. But Fire's got 5 scouts, and then here come the rest of the archers. And this is where the micro needs to be really good for the Romanian. He's got to focus Fire down those weak ones there, because if he would have done that, there'd only be 1 remaining for Fire. But still, Fire needs to drop a tower, and Fire's under some pressure here. But he's going to use the army as the distraction. He's going to be like, if you want to attack my vills, I come in with the army. And then Mihai has to hit the army. And so, yeah, just sacrificing these bodies to try and get the tower down. But Fletching's already in, and Fire had, like, the easiest base setup if he could protect that gold. And he's lost 1. He's lost 2, and there's a misclick there from Mihai. And that could be the difference between getting 3, but still Fire gets the tower up. And Fire's going to drop a market and try and take it to Castle Age. Really fun game so far. I hope people are enjoying it out there because this is unique. You don't see this every day. Scouts and also archers. Mihai's still going to try and break Fire. He's still producing. I mean, maybe he canceled some scouts there. And certainly he's invested a lot more into going for the kill. This is so cool. Mihai's like Michael? Okay, so it's like, okay, makes sense. Forgive me, I don't speak any Romanian, but I actually don't speak many languages other than English. But I can say, hola amigo, como esta? And we leave it at that for the day in most cases, down where I live. Okay, so food is no longer being spent. But the archers and the scouts that are already out are strong enough to eventually break through here. And Fire's going to drop another tower. This is an amazing game. By the way, if you've never seen this player in yellow before, he is playing in Titans League Silver. He's one of the favorites in my eyes to qualify and get in Titans League Gold. Season 2 is going to be starting in January. So I'm excited for the guy. He's been taking the game really seriously over the last 6 months. He's been around for years. But it's not like this guy, you know, just came out of the blue as being good. But okay, double tower there for Fire, who's like, man, I can't even take stone now. Sometimes Goths will want to do that, so they can drop the towers freely and then later on drop a castle. And, you know, for me, he's just trying to find a way to break through. Behind this, obviously, he's going to try and get to Castle Age. It always makes sense to wall up because Fire will have a stable. They could maybe try and counterattack with that. And there could be a little bit of uneasiness creeping in for Mihai when he can't break through and then he starts to, you know, he sees that Fire's in Castle Age. And that Archer's going to get picked off there. A little sloppy, but doing some other things right now and clicks up to Castle Age. And we even have Archer range number 2. So, guys, all these, like, new nerd players, all these guys that are creeping into the top, there's all a theme about them. And it's just, they're so good with Archers. They don't always play into Archers, don't get me wrong. But, like, the small, technical, early Archer play is what they're about. We're going to see a second stable here from Fire, who's clearly thinking, I've got to breathe a little bit. And, well, he's going to try and get out to this stone. And he's got 4 knights in queue. And it's about 90 seconds till Mihai can even click the upgrades on his army. So do you want to lose these archers here for Mihai? Tricky spot to be in, right? I know you're Khmer. And I know you can hop in and out of houses and your farms are efficient, blah, blah, blah. But I really like a full wall here. I still think it makes life so much easier for you. Fire. He will know, like, if he doesn't want to add siege, he's going to try and kill this army here. But he also recognizes that this is his time to go do damage to his opponent. Mihai's gone for the very egg-shaped base, despite having the potential to actually wall the sides. It's always a bait for me when I play Khmer. I do the same thing, and then I'm just like, crap, why didn't I full wall later on? So, but anyways, here he sits with a couple archers. The knights are coming in here, and if the TC Fire's there, it's different. But now you don't have walls, and now Fire's going to run around. And now you've got to chase that. Now Fire's found this army as well. Oh, great timing for Fire. And what a great game, guys. This is such a fun game right now. We do have Bodkin on the way for Mihai, but there's a lot of stress for him at the moment. And Bodkin era is still 15 seconds away. Oh, the timing from Fire was brilliant here. Oh, just so good. And now he's got the town center as well. He didn't even build the mining camp there, guys. He just walked back and forth to get the stone that he needed. And the majority of those archers went down, of course. All of them did. And now these knights are always going to threaten on the backside. And you have to respect it a lot more than you would if you would have just full walled. Sure, you've got the skill to house wall, but you've put yourself under pressure now. And Fire's got to be letting out a sigh of relief. Like oh man, the window that I've had here in Castle Age has just been game-changing. And so Fire survived that crazy pressure. His opponent's left with a pretty low number of crossbows, and Fire's economy is looking tasty right now. Let's see what Mihai can do with the crossbows. He's trying to give as little respect to this as possible. A Fire might even notice that tree there is about to be overchopped. Actually, it wouldn't matter to that. The crossbows have to move forward. And chain barding armor is now coming in for Fire, and it feels like he realizes maybe that's not enough. Maybe, because my knight number's low and I don't have the food eco to go knights and villagers, I need siege. And talk about timing, dude. Like, just so good. Everything just seems so calculated. And now Mihai sees the siege workshop. And he sees the town center. So Mihai's going to know I'm behind, right? The town center's up and you don't have the second town center. You're going to fall behind in bills. Okay. So trying to keep an eye on things here with these crossbowmen. Fire obviously well aware. Does he not know? Okay, I think he just realized that the crossbows were there for some reason. He's going to bring these knights back to heal up. He's had the monks just healing the weak ones, and he's got a scorpion there. And yeah, now I think he can complete that TC if he wants to. As I said before, 11 crossbows just doesn't feel like the number you want. 20? Feel like you're able to get enough volleys in where it makes a difference. Mihai taking some big hits here. He's going to send his knight in after the Scorpion and try and micro away and meet up with the rest of his group. Meanwhile, on the left part of your screens, you have Fire healing up. Mihai still staying even with Fire on Vilcount. And it's the beauty of 1TC is that you're normally floating a lot of food. And Khmer farms, too. He drops the second TC. And it's just like, stop them from getting a castle. Stop them from getting a castle. How would I beat Slav champs with Goths? Because I fed waves, even with max army. Well, you don't win straight up fights in that. You got to try and use your champions to raid the sides, believe it or not. It doesn't feel like something that would make a lot of sense for something like champion. But Slav champions are really strong in the main groups. So try and change where the fights are, distract your opponent, and then when they're least expecting it, your spam will make a big difference in the main battle. Also, you could mix in Scorpions, but I mean, Slavs can do that as well, right? Like, Slavs are a really good matchup against Goths. Great job from Fire. You love to see the monks getting value here. So many people, guys, go out to get the relics, and then they don't have the knights healing, and they don't have the conversions. Okay, these knights had hopped underneath the town center, it looks like. Still a close game. Really competitive game. Third town center's up for Mihai as well, but the higher the stone count gets for Fire when Mihai's relying on crossbows, the more worrisome this gets. And you see, he can't dive with knights up against any of the siege because the monks are always there from Fire. The Fire sends the fully healed group out. There he goes. Also has this group over here. Don't want to sound like a broken record, but this is why you wall. This is still going to become a factor. These players, or not players, the knights were healing up. And Mihai sees the Scorpions. I think he saw them a little too late. And now he's thinking he can maybe take that one out. And he is to back away because he is to react here. And watch Fire. He's going to go... Dude, Fire... He's playing so well here right now. He's like, okay, you're reacting to me there? Perfect. 2 knights into your farming eco. Have fun with that too. And it just becomes so hard to take the main fight in a way that you'd want because you have to deal with all this. Oh, there's a hole. No, there's not. Mihai does wall that up. Lots of idle time this game for him, though. Still needs an army to deal with this. And now he's trying to force the fight! And he's going to take out as many monks as he can with the crossbows, but the Scorpions, man. Khmer dying to Scorpions. There's too many of them. They might have all gone down, but they did exactly what they needed to do here. And what a fun game. I mean, I'm a little disappointed Mihai lost because I loved his opening, and I wanted to be like, guys, this archer range scout play is awesome. But Fire is just, he was able to get so much value with the Castle Age Knights. I mean, the counterattack, but also to kill that other group of army. I think that made all the difference. If he would have had that army to meet up with the main army, I think Mihai would have been able to do more damage. Obviously would have been a little bit closer then. But like Fire's economy this game. Granted, his map was also much better as well, but keep in mind, he didn't really have any eco bonuses, didn't really have any military bonuses he made the best of. Just kind of straight up outplayed the other guy. And then, once you get to 60 or 70 villagers and you have a castle with the Goths, that's when Goths become terrifying to any civs. So, it was obviously going to get a whole lot worse, which is why Mihai called the GG. I felt like Fire covered all of his bases. You know, as he added siege, he knew he was going to be vulnerable against knights, so he added monks. When he added the knights, he didn't rush in the armor immediately because he knew that the archers weren't fully upgraded yet, right? They were just archers. They weren't crossbowmen. There was no bodkin arrow. There's clinical from Fire, and he's a great player. 2.91 KD there for Fire that game. 67 kills, 23 units lost. Resources collected is really interesting, right? I think it just came down to like how good the fights were and ultimately like what you were building up towards as well. For Mihai, he was like building up towards he has to kill. For Fire, it was take a couple good fights and then set myself up to destroy later on with the castle drop, secure the map, all those very important things you talk about that necessarily don't pop up with the resources collected. But yeah, that's winning with Goths. With well, I can't say zero infantry, but without relying on infantry, good players can do that. Believe it or not. Wait, one more thing I want to say. Does anyone else really believe in that opening from Mihai? I'm going to keep an eye on that. But he was able to keep his stable producing and his archery range producing for the first, like, 5 minutes of Feudal Age. Maybe, like, 4. Anyways, normally if you go double building like that, you can't produce. So whatever he did was awesome. Unfortunately for him, it was just Fire's base was really good. And Fire had, like, the easiest wall of his life. Any other map gen, and I think that Fire doesn't win this game, actually, because that was so cool. So I'll try and find more content with that and try and see that working either at a high elo or a mid elo. It could produce some entertaining games.